We go.
All right, we good.
George Kilpatrick, inspiration for the nation, celebrating people we feel good about. Ashley Riggins is a golf instructor here in Syracuse in central New York. And we obviously, all of us have been praying for Tiger Woods, the news of his auto crash and surgery on his legs. And a lot of people, Ashley, are wondering, what does this mean for Tiger's career? And how this was news that was heard around the world.
Well, first of all, George, thank you for having me on. Yeah, that was, in the golf community, Tiger Woods represents, not only a brand, not only an incredible golfer, but, for a lot of African Americans, he is really the face of the sport. Mm-hmm. A lot like Kobe Bryant's demise last year was a really huge impact on the sports world community. And once again, another significant accident in the Los Angeles area. News worldwide of Tiger Woods in a single car accident really just, impacted the community. Many of us wouldn't play golf, wouldn't have anything to do with golf if it wasn't for Tiger Woods. So obviously that news was pretty big with the accident. Fortunately, Tiger, was found to be alive after the accident. He suffered significant damage to his right leg, breaking the tibia and fibula and his ankle. He was rushed to UCLA Medical Center and was in surgery for an extensive period of time, but they were able to place a rod, to get stabilization for the broken bones, and pins in his ankles, and now he's recovering at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in California. So it's, we are encouraged that he is on the mend now, and and a lot of people, collectively a sigh of relief. As for his career, we don't know what that's going to bring forth, but the one thing we do know is, first and foremost, he is a father and a parent, and to his kids and the family of Tiger Woods, obviously our prayers are with them, and we're happy that they still have their dad, and the golf community is extremely happy because we know Tiger's still here.
Yeah, and you really said something when you said, I'm playing golf in many ways because of Tiger Woods. Say more about that.
Back in 1997, when Tiger Woods really came on the scene, many of us didn't, we weren't really drawn to the game of golf. Many of us didn't have access to the sport. It was known to be an affluent sport. You needed money to play. And like myself, I grew up following Syracuse basketball, playing football, baseball, and things of that nature, because let's be honest, George, it's free to play. I could go out to my local community center, pick up a basketball, and I can hoop. But with golf, you need access. And somehow, some way, with Tiger Woods coming, even though I was in my later 20s at that point, when he came along in 1997, he represented the face of African Americans, which we really didn't have any role models or anyone we could relate to in the sport. And then on top of that, Tiger not only won, but he won at a great clip, and he actually made the sport cool. So much so that, kids would say, okay, I might not play football or basketball, baseball, but now I will consider golf because he made it a sport. He was affiliated with Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley and people we grew up idolizing. And then you saw that they played the sport. So once it came to be one of those things where, okay, I think I could get down with this because I see Tiger as a face of this, let me learn more about it. And we learned that there was a social dynamic to it. There was a true athletic endeavor to it. Many golf professionals swing a club 100 miles per hour. We had no idea. So there were so many nuances that brought the game of life to the African American community, and even to the youth, which I teach. Kids started to find out it was cool. So again, it was something we would have never thought about, because not only do we not have access, it wasn't seen as something that welcomed us as a community into that sport until Tiger. And once we saw that, it really kind of opened the gates to playing golf and finding out more about it as a community.
You think about the legacy of Earl Woods, though, right? When you think about, training a Tiger, I mean, give up some props to his dad, although Tiger had to then go out and execute those lessons. But as you were talking, I couldn't help but think of the racial ambiguity, and maybe that's not fair, but
Mhm.
even though we lifted him up as a Black community, he was a little bit more ambiguous about that for his own identity. Now, in some ways, that's not fair either, because people of multiracial backgrounds should get to identify themselves however they choose. And I think we're more accepting and more aware of that. I think at the time that he was talking about it, it was shocking, right, to us. And so I bring that in, not to I just bring it in.
Yeah, yeah, and that's understandable. Many of us remember that clip from the Oprah Winfrey show. Now, at the time, Tiger was young; he was 21, and I think the main point, the main takeaway from that was Tiger was looking at that as to not leave anyone out.
Right.
His mother was is Taiwanese; she's from Thailand. We know about Earl Woods, African American father, and sometimes how the I guess the best way to say it is, how the song may portray it is, when everything's great, you can acknowledge all your multicultural background. But when things go awry or they go wrong, or we find ourselves, unfortunately, in the criminal justice
He
system,
would just be
then we
Black.
become Black.
Right,
You
right, right.
know what I mean?
Well, look at Kamala Harris, right? She
Mhm.
was a Black woman all the way through. But then but just to the point, Kamala Harris, now South Asian, but she identifies as a Black woman and also identifies as a South Asian. So it's not either or for her. It's both
Mhm.
and, right? And, and,
Exactly.
but also the way she identifies. I just brought that in as you talk about how we lifted him up as a community. And so, and we know that he's such a draw, Tiger. Like, when golf needs him, right, for a lot of reasons, right? Golf needs
Mhm.
him because when he was away from the tour, dealing with his personal life struggles, the viewership on golf was way down. And as soon as Tiger came back and went right back up, people love to see him, and they love to see him win, obviously, or they love to see the competitive nature of what he has. Talk about that piece.
Yeah, it was once said in a sports journalist column that Tiger Woods doesn't move the needle; he is the needle.
Mm.
And to your point, a perfect example of that was in 2018, before his last Masters championship. Tiger Woods won the Tour Championship, and it was a part of his comeback, what we call his comeback tour, because he was gaining form the previous year leading up to 2019, and he had a runner-up finish at the British Open, and then he comes to Atlanta, Georgia, where the Tour Championship, and this was going to be his first win since all of his injuries and all his personal life dilemmas. And as you see Tiger walking down the 18th hole, this is iconic. Most of us can YouTube this. There is a sea of people and patrons running behind him because they know they're about to witness greatness. You just don't get that from any other golfer. Tiger does something that no one else does. He creates, like you said, he raises the bar of viewership, endorsement, sponsorship, but there's something special because when the man is performing at that level, it's always historic. So you see a sea of people. And when he culminated after that, winning the Masters in 2019, it was, with the naysayers saying he would never win again. He'd never win a tournament again. He'll never win a major again. He'll never catch Jack Nicklaus again. And then all of a sudden to see him do it over the age of 40, it was amazing. And the entire world, was captivated by that story. And like you mentioned with Earl Woods, seeing Tiger's career go full circle when he gave his dad a hug after on the 18th hole when he won his first Masters, then to see his son come out and him giving his son a hug, the world was moved by that. So Tiger Woods really moves the needle because he has not only changed the game inside the ropes, but the casual golfer, the golfers, the people like you and me, we love to watch him on TV. Even wives and girlfriends go, I don't watch golf, but I'll watch Tiger Woods. It's just different. He does something else to the entire landscape of not only golf, but golf television. And like you said, when he's not there, golf is still a wonderful game, but it doesn't have the draw. And I really think it's because you just don't have that superstardom with people that look like me and you. You just don't have it. You know, and you know, who knows if we'll see another one of those anytime soon. But you know, when it comes to that, you know, again, he's
I
a
mean,
billion-dollar machine.
obviously, there's a tremendous amount of rehab ahead, and certainly we're praying for Tiger's recovery, but we don't even know what that looks like. You know, recovery, and will he be able to walk? Will he be able to? Given that so many of bones were fractured, and this was on top of the fact that he was already not certain that he was going to enter the Masters tournament because of a back injury or a previous back surgery. So
Mm-hmm.
I just, you know, your speculation, I mean, not on the medical side, but if this is a career-ending injury, what would be the impact on the game of golf?
I would honestly say it'll be a tremendous impact, especially in the immediate future. I mean, we know that, you know, like you said, quality of life is the most important thing, first and foremost. Can he walk? Can he have a quality of life just with his kids as they grow? That's first and foremost. Secondly, not many of us that avid golfers that follows Tiger's career, you know, with the litany of injuries with knee surgery. And like you said, this was his fifth back surgery that he just had that he was looking to recover from. Never mind, you know, what just happened. You know, we knew that, you know, it was unlikely that Tiger would play much past his 50s anyway, even on a casual basis, you know, beyond the occasional
He
charity
wasn't going to be
tournament.
out there, Jack. He wasn't going to be out there like Jack Nicklaus.
No. Tiger's not, you know, Tiger's more like, you know, you're going to see him kind of follow the model of Michael Jordan, to be honest with you.
I knew you were going to say Jordan. I knew you were going to say it.
Yeah, he's an ambassador. He has the Tiger Woods Learning Center that's been around for 20 years for kids, you know, for you know, a lot like LeBron James, with college scholarships being granted to kids that normally wouldn't have that opportunity. You know, he has his own brand with Nike, a lot similar to Michael Jordan. Tiger has already designed multiple golf courses with his name attached to them around the world. So just like Jordan has built that, I think his legacy is really what's about to embark. Never mind the fact that his son loves the game. And, you know, even at age 11, Charlie, many people saw him play with his dad about a month ago, and the kid can play at 11. So it's pretty incredible.
And so there might be some new pressures, right? To replicate what Earl Woods, Tiger's dad, was able to replicate in his life. Well, Ashley, I mean, I think this certainly is a blow to the game, a blow to his family, and a blow to the sport of golf. You know, it's just something we're going to keep praying for him, and we're hoping that things will turn around for him. And certainly, a lot of answers yet to be determined. You know, the investigation continues. What we do know is that there right now no evidence of any substance abuse or alcohol or any of that. And it just appears that he was headed to another event and lost control of the car. And so we're continuing. This is what do you call it? A unfolding. What do you call it? It's an unfolding story. What's the word we use? Unfolding.
It is an ongoing investigation.
Yes, ongoing investigation. Finally, Ashley, I know it's too early to be thinking about golf, but obviously you got this program that you've been associated with that really gets inner city young people interested in the game of golf at a very reasonable, if not nominal fee.
That's correct. And that is the First Tee of Syracuse. I've been involved with that organization for over 15 years now for the city of Syracuse Parks and Recreation. Obviously, we know that COVID had quite an impact on the world, as well as, you know, the community, the golf community, and our local parks and recreation system. So, you know, as spring starts to embark in a few weeks, you know, because we know the groundhog saw his shadow, didn't see it, whatever it was, and the snow starts to melt, you know, that's something that we're looking at. Obviously, with safe protocols in place, it will be great, you know, to see that come back. I know the local parks of Burnett Park and Sunnycrest and even I want to say Butternut Creek in the Syracuse Central New York area, also help promote the first tee of Syracuse. We start with kids as young as 5-6 years of age up to 14 years of age. And again, if the kids don't have clubs for themselves, they are provided by the city. And the whole point of that, George, is to get the kids involved in the game of golf, because there's so many wonderful intangibles that come along with the game of golf besides the hitting of the ball, the chipping, and the putting. But it also teaches these kids, life skills, integrity, honesty, courtesy, and things of that nature that embody, what golf is. And I'm happy to be a part of that.
That's what the first tee teaches, or is that what you get from golf?
Both.
All right. So how does golf teach you all of these things you just said?
The one thing that's mentioned, you may hear from time to time, they call golf a gentleman's game, even though there's some amazing female golfers that play the game. The point of that saying or that phrase is there's courtesy involved in the game of golf. For example, there is a up system when you're on the first tee box, as it were, and there's courtesies. We don't speak or talk when someone's swinging. You have to be honest. If your ball, is off in the rough and you have to take a couple extra shots to get to the green, at the end of the day, we want to know how many shots did it take you to get to the hole, and you have to be honest. Even though I might not have seen you hit it off into woods and I didn't see you hit it out of the woods, if it took you 3 shots to get it out, it requires honesty in that regards. It requires life skills of, knowing yourself, and things of that nature. It builds integrity, in the sport. And golf has a way of, doing that unlike any other sports. You self-regulate, you self-penalize yourself. You don't have a referee out there with a whistle. If there's a penalty or you had a violation or you hit your ball by accident, that still counts, and you have to penalize yourself. So, the one thing about golf is it has you self-police, self-regulate your own intentions and actions throughout the entire round. And teaching kids that at a young age is a phenomenal, phenomenal thing.
How do people find out about First Tee?
First Tee, you can actually find out by the First Tee of Syracuse website, firstteeofsyracuse.com. You'll find that through syracuse.com, and you also will see that through another link on Syracuse Parks and Recreation. Typically, the program gets started out in June, and it'll run through the summer.
And are you giving instructions to private citizens? Are you doing that?
Yes, I am. And again, for the last 10 or 15 years, not only do I teach the kids through the First Tee, we also have a senior clinic for those that are, how can I put it, recently retired, might have retired from their professions and they're 60, 65-year-olds and wants to pick up another profession. We teach senior clinics through Syracuse Parks and Rec. And I also teach individual lessons to adults and those that want to improve on the game, whether it's for fun or even for a more competitive part of the game.
I don't even know golf, but what is your handicap?
I take my handicap. Well, we live in Central New York, so unlike Florida or California, I can't play year round, but I keep my handicap at about a 4. When it's optimum, but in the wintertime, it's probably ballooning a little bit.
Ashley Riggins, golf instructor here in Syracuse, New York, talking about Tiger Woods and his legacy, but also the First Tee of Syracuse program where young people and seniors can get support to learn and participate in the game of golf. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, George.
Inspiration for the nation.